Okay, we're going to Shippingport today for nuclear occupation, is that right?
That's right.
And you plan to be one of the people who is going to occupy the plant.
That's right.
How are you going to go about doing that?
Well, at this stage, we're planning on going right up the road that heads right into the plants, which is a restricted area. And the way things generally work is that the police stop you and inform you that if you step beyond a certain point, you're going to be arrested for trespassing or whatever else they decide, blocking highways and other kind of things that they come up with. We also heard a rumor, which hasn't been confirmed, that they've put up a new fence somewhere, which may mean that we need to climb over the fence.
How do you feel about the possibility of your being arrested today?
Well, this will be my first arrest in the anti-nuclear movement, and it's a small number of people. Hopefully we're going to be able to get to know each other and support each other through this. I think it's very, very important to begin to make this step in Pittsburgh, that the authorities, the power company, activists, citizens have just been waiting for some kind of action to start taking place. And things have happened all over the country. This is the first site of a reactor that really started the whole business in Shippingport. It's an old reactor, it's an unsafe reactor, and also now with the plans with the one more power plant that's already functioning there and the plans for building one more, that it's really time to get moving in Pittsburgh and set an example for other people who come after us.
Today, once you cross that fine line where you're not supposed to trespass by climbing a fence or however you'll pass it, what do you plan to do once you get inside the area?
We plan on just going until they stop us, basically, or else choosing a site where we'll sit down. We'll probably make a decision as a group, depending on what the terrain is like, how the police respond, the plant security guards, no doubt, and plant officials will be there. We'll have to make a group decision on what to do. We plan on basically keep going until they stop us and letting them know that we intend to keep going.
And have you personally been involved in the movement for some time now?
Right. For about 2 years, and then really solidly for about a year, starting with training for Seabrook last year, when there was plans for a major occupation that was rerouted into a large peaceful occupation with no arrests. But since then, working in Pittsburgh and trying to build the movement here.
Could you give me just a couple final words about your general feelings about the movement?
I think that it's growing really, really rapidly. The 3 Mile Island incident kicked off a lot of people's feelings. People are still slow to respond. They recognize now the dangers coming from 3 Mile Island. There's a lot of grassroots people, a lot of ordinary people who are not environmental activists or social activists, who are now becoming really scared, really skeptical, and they're in a place of being confronted by a lot of conflicting information, what I feel are outright lies from the government, from the power industries, from the people who own and control all our energy resources, and they don't know what to do. So it's important for people to start acting on many levels: occupations, interventions in the courts, grassroots utility organizing, and a lot of educational events for citizens, workers, minority people, to build a really strong movement for safe energy that people can afford and live with.
And so it was. And God saw all that he had made, and indeed it was very good. Evening came and morning came, the sixth day. And the heavens and the earth were complete with all their array. And on the seventh day, God completed the work he had been doing.
Why are you out here today?
I'm out here because I know nuclear power is bad for mankind and for the environment. I'm very sad about it.
Thank you very much. This is Richard Hayden, and we're going to find out how and why you individually got involved in the nuke movement in the first place.
How I got involved? Well, it was in 1974, I guess, I first became interested in this. And I interviewed for a position as a chemist at the light water breeder reactor at Shippingport, and spent a day there interviewing for the position. And asked questions. At the time I was a supporter of nuclear power, and I thought it would be a job with a long future, a lot of security. But as the day progressed, I asked a lot of questions from the engineers. They gave candid answers that I didn't expect. So it raised questions in my mind. I was offered the position, but I turned it down, accepted another offer elsewhere. And since that time had been reading little bits here and there about the controversy. And the more I read, the more interested I got. The more I read, the less I believed in the claims of the industry. The more I read and the more I became convinced, the more I also became convinced that I had to do something actively to stop what I thought was a big mistake. And this has been mainly in the role of just trying to talk to people, inform them, put information in their hands, make sure they get the other side of the argument. They've been getting the industry side since Atoms for Peace was started in 1954. And there hasn't been much opposition at all until just in the middle 70s. It really started to take off, and now, of course, it seems to go on its own momentum.
Do you think it's fear that's got this movement going?
Fear is an element. I don't think that can be denied. But I think the element that really interested me was deceit, was the fact that I was being lied to, was the fact that the industry wasn't sincere and wasn't honest in what it was telling the people. After Watergate, of course, this was after Watergate, in fact, that I became interested. And I think it was largely that aspect of the debate that interested me most, and it really got me mad. I don't like being lied to, and I don't think anybody does. And I'm convinced now that the whole thing has been a sham.
What's your part in this demonstration today?
Well, I wrote up these survival tactics last night because I think people should internalize what all this means. All they hear about is radiation, radiation, and they hear statistics, but they don't know what it means, and they don't think they have any control of their lives. And while we have to control what's going on in the political world, we have to control what's going on in our bodies too. And by doing things like drinking lemon juice and eating lots of beets and stuff, you can really neutralize some of the radiation. And I'm also here because of all the children, and so we can all have some in future date.
It's all right. It's all right. Are you a mother?
No, I would have been, but I was irradiated.
Where was that?
X-ray technicians.
Oh, really? Did you? How do you feel about that?
Pretty angry. See those children over there playing in that Greene County poster? That's what it's all about.
We want a no-nuke world for them.
Nuclear power plant. I was a teacher at this time at Aliquippa Junior High School and became concerned and tried to instill this concern in my students. And from this, just grew and grew until I finally became connected with the groups that are here today and trying to expand this concern even further and bring it home to the people who really have to decide this issue over nuclear power. We didn't get a chance to elect this. And this is the way our system is run, and this is what I've taught in our school, and I feel that we should follow that.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to say? I see your buttons here. Solar employs, nuclear destroys, stop nuclear power.
Okay. One of my personal endeavors at the moment is to take the place where I live, the place where my house is at the moment, and convert it into a solar site, either using the combination of windmills and photovoltaic cells and so forth, and to get myself power self-sufficient, so to speak, and also to provide an example for the people in the county to follow this. And there is plenty of monopoly-free energy provided by nature, and all that we have to do is just open ourselves up to it and not be afraid.
Do you think that Jerry Brown deserves the no nuke vote in 1980?
I think the people should investigate every politician, not just Jerry Brown himself, and where they stand on not only just no nuke, but are they pro-alternative? There are so many alternatives that we have that we should seek out these politicians, whether they're politicians for solar or for biomass or any of the other types of alternatives and back these people and make sure that they stand by their words and not let happen what's been going on in the government as it is now, where our representation is no longer direct. And I think we want it back.
I know we want it back!
We're gonna stand up to Duquesne Light, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. We're gonna stand up to Duquesne Light, down by the riverside, down by the riverside.
Hi, would you like to make a statement about solar power or about why you're here today?
Well, it's just time I got off my rear end and did something. Like a lot of us, we've just kind of been, I don't know, maybe waiting until things got bad enough, until 3 Mile Island got us all thinking about how close it all is to us, and that you can't, and it's not even a matter of hurting the earth, and it'll heal itself in time, because whatever we do to the earth, we do to ourselves. We're so, I believe that it's a part of us all, you know. It's like, and the same thing goes with your inner health. You can't treat the symptoms of your body and expect to cure yourself. It's an inner cure, and you can't treat symptoms on the earth, and what we're doing to the earth right now is so terminal that we may get to the point we can never heal it again. And it's just tied up in everything else I'm doing, and I, you know, have to take what time I can for my other activities, and you know, for what it's worth, just put my body here to show my support, you know, it's the best I can do.
Down with nuclear
They're police.
Let's sing!
Oh, where's the, where's the,
Anybody know you're not?
They gotta keep them entertained.
On the Bible?
No, he was like
I'm a reporter. You don't want to talk to
he was
me.
like the curly-head one, about the second or third in. He wasn't the one with the Bible.
Okay, do you know who that gentleman was?
Yeah, that was, what's Kurt's last name? Kurt, Jesus, I don't know Kurt's last name. I don't know, Kurt something? Kurt Sell.
S-E-L-L?
That's close enough. Where are you from?
I'm from KDKA in Pittsburgh.
Oh, KDKA. Oh, I see. So you guys work together over there. Well,
What are you doing?
we're doing a freelance production. You know, we're documenting this event, just like you are. We're using a little different techniques and stuff.
For what group?
Well, we're just a group of independent video makers. We'd like to get our tape shown on KDKA, but we feel that since KDKA is owned by Westinghouse, we don't really have very much chance of getting it on.